Well, hello, Wendy.
Yay. Hello, Phil.
Hello. And listen, we are going to spend a little bit of time today just chatting about a really exciting new phase of your life.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah. And we wanted to just take a little bit of time to have a conversation about what some of those changes are going to look like and what's kind of led to them and how people can be praying for you in this season.
That would be amazing. That would be
Um,
amazing.
and so, for those that are watching, thank you so much for kind of tuning in and watching this with us. And so, Wendy, this is a big change moment for you because literally just this week you've come off the staff team of King's Arms after how
Yes.
many years?
I think it's 17, which is like
Wow,
most of my life.
that's
No, not really.
amazing. You are
Yeah,
still very young.
I'm very young. Yeah.
You are. Yeah, so you've come off staff team after 17 years of working at King's Arms,
Yeah.
and you are now launching something new called Wendy Mann Equip, which
Yeah.
we'll hear about in a little bit. But um, just for those that perhaps don't know the story to this point, what are some of the things that have led you to come off staff and do something new? Tell us a bit about how you got to this place.
Yeah, great. I am. It kicked off. I think it was 2019 January. I think we had a Sounds of Glory conference, as I think
Mm.
where it was. Julian Adams, a brilliant prophet, brilliant man, picked me out in a crowd and prophesied over me. Really powerful moment. And some of what he said was about God beginning to speak to me about the next 20 years of my ministry and my life. And uh, I, I really encountered God. And one of the things he said was, you've been, God says, don't want to be looking at my salary. And I was like, oh, wonder what that's about. But what ended up happening was 2 or 3 people after that conference, quite quickly after that conference, came up to me and said, oh, we want to start giving you money. And I was
Wow.
like, I don't need money. What are you giving me money for? I ended up saying to one of them, I'm not really sure what to do with this money. This has never happened before. What do you want me to spend it on? This kind of. So that just started to happen. And I just felt like God was getting my attention through that. And then you, Phil, I don't know if you remember this, in the same month, same January, same year, we went away as wider leaders and I was prayed for at one point, and you had this picture of a cruise liner and I was in the cruise liner and there was a white water raft that came up alongside the cruise liner, and you said you could see me looking at the white water raft thinking, should I jump? And what's funny is in the natural, I would much rather be on the
Yes,
cruise
please,
liner than
Lord.
the whitewater raft. Yeah. But you said, or God said through you, your safety is in adventure, not comfort.
Mm.
And honestly, that just so spoke to me. It really spoke to me, and I knew God was speaking. And so January last year, I dropped my hours to 2 days a week from 4 days as a little bit of a step into what God had said, because I wasn't quite brave enough to take the full jump. So I went down to 2 days to step into this stuff and to travel more and to go to the nations, and then we were all stuck at home. But
Yes.
but God's really used this time to just speak some more and grow me in confidence, and so yeah, I felt like you said it's important to take the full plunge, because I feel
Wow.
like I've been straddling the cruise liner and the whitewater raft for a year.
Yeah.
And it's been fine, but I felt like God said, no, you've got to go for it, go all in. And so that's what we're doing.
How exciting.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and gosh, well done for making a brave decision to step off the cruise liner, because that's not easy. That takes real guts.
Yeah.
And so, what are some of the things you feel like God is saying about this new season? If this is kind of what's got you to this point, what is God speaking to you about for this next season of
Yeah.
your life, the next 20 years?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I only know bits and pieces, but I think one of the things God's encouraged me with is to do with just seeing lots of fruit. A couple of years ago now, I had to have a hysterectomy, and one of the promises God spoke over my life through that was just an abundance of fruit. I recovered on an award called the Orchard Award, and God said that was prophetic. And then other people have had pictures about apple trees, and so I feel like I'm just like, okay, I'm holding on to that. God, I feel like I'm just like, yes, God, I want to see fruit for your kingdom and see you glorified. So, presence of God, I am just feeling really hungry for the presence of God, and just like surrender. I feel like partly this decision is a surrendering thing of saying, okay, Father, don't know what's going to happen, but let's jump. And it feels like a good place to be, really good place to be, because I think you have to lean into God like you perhaps wouldn't before. And so I feel very surrendered, feel very hungry for the presence of God. I realize if he doesn't rock up, there's not much point, nothing's going to happen. But if he does come, then anything could happen. And so I feel very, very hungry for his presence and the miraculous. Particularly, I think I'm living with loads of promises to do with the miraculous that I haven't seen fulfilled yet, and I'm ready. Like, come on, God, like prophetic stuff about Catherine Coleman, and just what I love about her was that she just said, Holy Spirit, come. She lived in this place of surrender to the Spirit, and people got radically healed. So leaning in for that kind of stuff. I think there's prophetic words about starting up supernatural schools in lots of different nations, so that would be fun. Don't know how that will work or where that will be, but that's exciting. There's prophetic stuff about serving across streams. So obviously I've been in New Frontiers for many years, and have grown so much, but feel like the Father said there's lots of different streams for you to serve into. And more recently, God's been speaking to me a little bit about people in their 20s, which is, came a bit out of nowhere. I don't really know what's going to happen with that, but just feeling stirred about seeing him come and meet with people in their 20s and equipping them. So lots of different bits and pieces. It feels good. It feels exciting.
That's amazing, Wendy. Gosh, there's a lot to be getting on with there, isn't there, for the next 20 years? And so one of the things you're doing to kind of pursue some of these promises is...
Yeah, there's plenty to do, for sure, yeah.
So one of the things that you're going to be
You froze there.
Yeah,
are you back?
I'm back.
Okay, good. Let's carry on.
My internet is unstable, but I hope that doesn't have anything to say about my character and my personality. So yeah, I was just saying, so to kind of pursue some of these kind of promises that God's put in your heart, you've set up I guess is it a new business, a new ministry called Wendy Mann Equip, is that right?
Yeah, that's what I've called it. Yeah.
And so what's that going to look like?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. Honestly, I felt like God said, okay, your next step is to stop working for the King's Arms, and then I'll speak to you about other things. So that's happening this weekend. So yeah, it's a lot of it's unknown. I've recently set up an online course around one of my books, Naturally Supernatural book. So that's been really fun, and that feels significant in terms of people from different nations being able to access that. And I'm excited, obviously, for travel to open up again, because that will be fun. Although I have been doing a few online things with like Germany and New Zealand, and it's been great. I mean, it's nothing like being in the room with people, but
No.
It's been nice. But yeah, honestly, I think my heart is to just whatever opens up, whatever God leads me, is to be a mother and to champion people, equip people, inspire people. I just want to see people run into all that God's got for them and not be held back by anything, and see God's presence come in meetings and just encounter people and change people and set people free, and then see people equipped to bring the kingdom wherever they are. And I'm just really passionate about seeing everyone understand the same Spirit who anointed Jesus lives inside of you, and therefore go and see the kingdom come wherever God's placed you. And I think that's what I'm longing for, all out of a place of knowing our sonship and daughterhood, and it not being a striving thing, but it's being I'm just going to follow my Father. So I think that's the dream, but how it'll unfold, I'm not sure. We'll see.
Come on, Wendy, sounds amazing, really amazing. And so I guess one of the questions some people might have, particularly those that know you, they know that you have a high value for family and for team and for working in partnership with people. So how's that kind of work out in terms of obviously coming off a staff team where you're working in team, and obviously now um, setting up your own kind of ministry? What will kind of family and team and togetherness look like in this next season?
Yeah, well, I think it is something that's really important to me. So it's definitely something I've been mindful of. Definitely not wanting to isolate myself or be on my own at all. So the great news is King's Arms will still be home. So King's Arms will still be my family, and so I'll be, involved, connected, serving, which is brilliant. And I'm also connected into the Resonate Hub, Phil, that the team that you lead, and I'm gonna be part of that team still, which feels really good, just in terms of obviously having already built relationships with people. So that feels really fun.
Nice.
And as part of that, I'll connect with you every 6 weeks or so. So we'll chat and I'll learn stuff from you. We'll cheer each other on, whatever comes through there. Got the most amazing friends. So obviously very blessed with friendships. So got lots of people who are cheering me on and speaking into my life, which is brilliant. I have a team of people who pray for me regularly, so we connect every 6 weeks. So that feels really healthy.
Right.
And obviously love traveling in teams, so that won't change. So I will always take team with me whenever I travel. So I think I feel good. I feel like there's some good things in place, and that feels really important. So yeah, it feels healthy. Yeah.
And Wendy, I think one of your strengths has always been building brilliant teams and building a sense of family, and I think it's a huge part of your DNA actually, and I'm sure in this next phase of your life that's going to continue and get stronger. And for those kind of friends and kind of people that are connected to you that want to kind of stay in touch with how things are going, or kind of get updates about what you're doing or where you're going to be, or if they want to book you or connect to you to kind of come and do some stuff in their settings, how do they do that from this point on?
Yeah, great question. Well, I mean, there's various different ways, and I'm still working on a few. So I've got a mailing list, which is, I send out sporadic updates of news and what's going on and new resources and things like that, so people can sign up to that.
Right.
I'm currently working on a website, which is a very bizarre journey, but God's been so kind in providing a lovely friend who knows what they're doing, who's helping,
that's
which has just taken a lot of the stress out of it, and she's been such a gift. So yeah, we're in the process of working that out. So everything will ultimately eventually be on there, which will be such a blessing. So I think that would be a great way to connect. I'd love people to be praying, just to be praying for wisdom. I think my challenge is not going to be twiddling my thumbs. What could I do now? My challenge is going to be working out, okay, what is God saying I should do? I think when you're an activator, you can sometimes end up activating stuff that the Father hasn't actually asked you to do, and then you're like, oh no. So I think for me it's, okay, Father, what are you saying, and what do I say yes to? What's not right to be doing? I think I just would love prayer for wisdom in that respect. And then if people want to give financially, then I've also got like the stewardship account, which is where people can give money in, and then the stewardship organization will give me grants.
Nice.
And so they can email me if they want to start doing that, and I'll put all that information on the social media site wherever people are watching. So yeah,
that's good, Wendy. Well done, my friend.
Thank you.
Yeah, and listen, I guess as we kind of bring this conversation into a land, it's my privilege to say what probably lots of people would want to say, which is, Wendy, well done. We love you, and we'll be cheering you on every step of the way, and we just believe in you and all that God's called you to do.
Thanks, Phil.
Yeah, and I would just encourage us to really be praying for Wendy, and also if you're particularly got a passion for some of the things that Wendy's talked about, even in this conversation, to just get in touch with Wendy and pull in people and resources that can really help you pursue the presence of God and your sense of identity in Christ and building a culture that sees the kingdom come. Do make use of this amazing gift to the church. And so, Wendy, we love you and we appreciate you so much.
That's great.
Praying for a brilliant next 20 years plus.
Yeah, come on.
That's full of fruitfulness. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, bless you, my friend. Thanks for sharing today.
Thanks so much, Phil.
All right.